as Pure West Presents. I'm fully expecting, guys, tonight that I introduce this as Pure West Presents at some point, which is going to be an absolute nightmare.
It's going to be fun.
My name is Rob. I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts, Mr. Michael Chivers. Hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
How the devil are you?
I'm good, mate. Losing my voice a bit, as you can tell, but
well, that suits us fine.
Hey, I'll try.
We might get a word in edgeways now tonight. And of course, Mark Price as well. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I like music, so I thought I'd sit in front of.
Really? Well, mine is purely decorative.
No,
I don't think I've ever picked that up in my life.
I don't think you've ever picked up a guitar in your life.
So for all of our lovely listeners and viewers as well, because now we are streaming on Facebook and I believe YouTube and Twitter as well. So unfortunately, people can see us, which is not great. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm pretty violated.
Yeah. And of course, I read online recently, obviously with the pandemic, everybody's using technology and lots of people are having Zoom meetings a lot and Skype meetings. And I read that 1 in 5 people have done a Zoom or a Skype meeting with nothing on from the waist down. So I'm hoping to God that that isn't the case with either of you tonight.
Well, I'm not going to say anything really, you know.
I'm definitely not going to ask either of you to stand up just in case, that's for sure.
No, I am
Nobody needs to see that. No one needs to see that.
Fully clothed.
So for those of you tuning in for the first time, I say for the first time, this is the first show. We've all had, what is it, over a year off now?
A year, yeah.
I don't know, time's disappeared.
Isn't it?
The last show I did for you guys was last January.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. We were a weekly show called Pure West Presents. We focused on lots of music industry related issues, lots of music industry related topics. We discussed, we debated, we everything. It was great. We played lots of unsigned artists, and we're essentially taking that structure and we've kind of mashed it up and changed it up a bit, haven't we?
Adapted.
We have.
Yeah, adapted. That's a great word for it.
As we all must do at the moment.
Yes, we've evolved.
And devolved at the same time because none of us are in the same room.
Fantastic. So coming up on tonight's show, we are going to be discussing a topic that is on the tips of everybody's tongues, which is part of the reason why, ironically, I wanted to stick away from it. It's all you hear in the media at the minute. It's on the front of all the papers. It's on the news.
We know.
And that is COVID-19. Yes, we
Everyone
are.
Drink.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be discussing COVID-19 and its effects on the music industry. We're going to be discussing how the music industry can recover and also how we can be supporting artists now while we're not going to live events. We've got
and
some
if that
really
made you groan, don't. I think you should stick around because there's some interesting parts throughout the show.
Yes. Don't go anywhere. Despite the heavy topic, we got some amazing features coming up as well. We have the cover up, which is a really exciting new feature. I say new feature again. This is a new show, but everything's new. We've got an exciting new feature called the cover up, where we're going to be playing a couple of tracks that are covers. That we think are as good, if not better, than the original. So have your say on that. If you know of any covers that you think are great, then make sure that you send them over to us. I'll give the details shortly. We have a couple of other features as well. We've got In the Spotlight, which is where we're going to be playing 3 tracks from one artist and a bit more information than we normally would. We also have a really exciting new feature, which it's probably my most anticipated for tonight. I don't know about you guys. Could go down like a sack of spuds, or it could really take off. It's called Stick to the Day Job, and today we're going to be focusing on, I think, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Christopher Lee.
With a question mark.
Of course, sorry, I should have specified. I'm going to talk about that at the time. Yeah, it's not a statement, stick to the day job. It's a question. To the day job?
Well, we're going to be asking now. Spoiler alert, I'm just going to say no,
Yeah, oh my goodness, absolutely. But with that feature, we're going to be taking a well-known celebrity who has also ventured into live music. And we're going to be asking whether their music is any good or whether if they should have stuck to the day job. Christopher Lee, I cannot wait for this. Really, really looking forward to it.
It's going to be good.
As well as that, we have a live guest. We've Ignite Mares or members of Ignite Mares who have got a brand new single coming out. And we'll be joined by international music journalist and director of Stargazer Music Magazine, Mr. Ian Davis, who's going to be shedding a music journalist's point of view on the topics at hand. How are you feeling, boys?
I'm good. Bit nervous.
Bit nervous. I don't know why, because we've been doing radio together for years and years and years. But I think this video thing tonight is a bit. And it's been a long time since we've all done the show together. Excuse my voice if you've just tuned in, because I am sounding very hoarse.
It's completely different to anything that we've ever done before on radio, isn't it?
I know, mate.
Really looking forward to the rest of the show. As over the last couple of weeks, obviously what we tried to do with the show, what we're going to try and do with the show is to keep things relevant and up to date. Now, the last week or so, we've had some, really big events for women. We've had International Women's Day and, of course, Mother's Day as well yesterday. So what we're going to be doing over the course of the show is playing lots of female artists, lots of female-fronted bands, and really looking forward to that. So I think without further ado, what we'll do is we'll play our first couple of tracks. We have our first track, Laura Aston from the West Midlands. Really looking forward to this. She's been a professional singer since the age of 14. This opening track for the show tonight, very apt for Mother's Day yesterday. It's called Mama, and this track speaks to the love you have for your mother and the struggles that she might have bringing you up, always putting you first. Really looking forward to this. We're going to go straight into another track then, 2 back-to-back tracks now. Jasmine Rose coming up straight after Laura Aston. She is from South Wales, now based in Bristol. We've got a single from her coming, In This City, which is from her debut album, which is also called Inner City. Right, should we have some music, gents?
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's fly away. I'll take you to a better place. Worries or stress, I'll get rid of those debts. Just sleep easy tonight and know the good things are coming.
I'm living in a city, yeah, that ain't my home. It's a place I roam from time to time. All the noises of the night, they got me thinking, this city don't sleep. away by the memory of your touch, and it's playing on my mind. So pass me another one. Maybe I can find. Let me blur you from my mind. So pass me another one.
Welcome back to Making Noise. We are live on Pure West Radio this evening. So we just had two tracks there. Jasmine Rose, In the City. That's from her album Inner City. She's South Wales, now based in Bristol. Before that, we had Laura Aston with a very appropriate track for the day after Mother's Day, which was called Mama. What do you reckon? That was awesome. All right, wasn't it?
I love that.
Yeah, really, really good. Right.
I am a fan.
Let's get into this topic now. Let's get into this debate. Okay.
If we have to.
I know. As we said, it's one of those things where we didn't particularly want to be bringing up coronavirus, COVID-19, due to the fact that it's everywhere. It's all we hear about, which is obviously very frustrating. But we are going to have to bring it up. It's something that's very relevant. It's something that's very important. So let's have at it. Mark, what do you think? It's a very broad question, I suppose. But what do you think the impact has been on the music industry up to this point?
I think, like you said, it's very broad here. We're going across the spectrum. But I mean, I think I read the other day, and this is pretty obvious, that the biggest problem is live music. Obviously, that's one of the biggest issues. That's one of the biggest parts of the industry that has gone to all hell, as you can imagine. Obviously,
yeah,
social distancing and all that. And that's going to be a huge thing going forward, as well as right now. I mean, I think I was reading, billions have been lost, obviously, over the last year with no live music, and people are starting to. Well, people were feeling it before. I think people are really feeling it now. There's a huge need to get back into those mosh pits, I guess, and those live venues.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit later about how we potentially return, and we'll stick that down the line. What do you think the impact has been on the musicians themselves, though? From who I've spoken to, there's been a massive impact on people's mental health. I know that's been the case all across the board. I think we're having some issues there with Mike. We'll just carry on as normal. So I do apologise for that.
We're expecting this.
We'll get him off the screen. This is a pilot. Well, this is a pilot.
It's a pilot of a pilot.
We were fully expecting some technical issues. This is all very new to us. In terms of mental health, Mark, obviously that's a really important factor in day-to-day life. We did a show many moons ago about music and mental health.
Many moons.
What do you think this impact is going to have on some of the artists?
I think it's massive. I mean, anyone that's going to be trying to take this as their career. I mean, let's face it. I mean, how incredibly difficult it is to be a musician that can make any money out of it to begin with is hard enough. Now you've got obviously a pandemic. It's practically impossible. So I mean, that's going to have a huge effect, I think, on your mental health. If you want to be doing those things that keep you alive. In many ways, that is getting out there and playing music and being able to do live shows. I mean, that's a massive part of people's lives.
Certainly.
And not just that, I mean, putting out music that people might have been able to consume before, might not be able to now. They don't have the money for your merch. They obviously can't see you live. That's going to be a massive. Anyone out there who's trying to make music their life is going to be massively affected. And on a more, I guess, smaller scale. You'd just being able to get out there and jam with other people. It's a huge part of people's lives.
I think we've got Mike back. Can you hear us now?
Mike back. Hello.
I can hear you all loud and clear now.
Oh, look at that! Brilliant. Just in the nick of time. Like I said, we were fully expecting some sort of issue tonight. It was all going far too smooth, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
we were just saying there, Mike, about how the impact of not being able to perform, not being able to socialize, not being able to express yourself. I think that's really one of the key issues here. A lot of musicians turn to music as a tool of expression. And obviously not being able to do that is going to have a significant impact on mental and emotional well-being.
I mean, it's not just the musicians too. I mean, everybody turns to music for help, mental health and stuff. I mean, you bang on a good song and it totally changes you. Do you know what I mean? But
I think as musicians, you can still express yourself. I mean, the one thing we did talk about before in a previous, iteration of the show was, how many different avenues now musicians have in order to be able to express themselves. I think that isn't so much the problem. Musicians can still, I mean, might not be able to get together, but I mean, there's not just bands out there. Obviously, a lot of musicians are very much single entities that make and record their own music. So they can still many of them can still express themselves. I think one of the key issues here is being able to have that relationship then with the audience, where it's not just then sending it over a social media platform. It's then having that interpersonal relationship where you're going up and you're performing for them, and not being able to deliver that. I think is going to be it already is, from the biggest bands to the smallest bands, a massive bearing on them, and also there's going to be a massive bearing on their mental health as well.
Of course. I'm just gonna jump back to something that you said, Mike, about the rest of us turning to music. You know, and I completely agree with you. You know, I express myself a lot through what I listen to, and I find that my mental and emotional well-being dictates my playlist a lot of the time. What I'm going to say on that subject, though, this is something that absolutely blew my mind. And surprisingly, that Music Business Worldwide found that global streams from Spotify's top 200 dropped by 11%. So less people are streaming music on the likes of Spotify. And interestingly, week commencing the 13th of March last year. So that was at the week that we kind of went into lockdown, I believe.
Everything began,
that week represents the lowest number of global streams since the last week of 2018. Now, in my mind, the opposite would have occurred.
I would have thought that as well.
Yeah. What about you, Mark? Does that surprise you?
I guess it's, and this was in like the first week.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the period of time that it's going from? Is that when it was kind of recorded that at that point, that's when it also. I would argue that over the period of time that the whole world has been in lockdown, that there's probably been a massive resurgence. I mean, certainly on my end. I mean, I've been listening to more dramatic and different music every day because it's in many ways just a part to get rid of the monotony. But I don't know, you know, again, you know, if people are purchasing music, if people are unemployed or having difficulty with music, with getting money together, maybe they simply can't afford.
That subscription.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it depends, I guess, on where they're consuming it. And
that's a really interesting point. Off the back of that as well, we can see that radio stations have reported streaming increase of up to 18%, as well as consumers accessing radio stations through smart speakers, such as Alexa. I apologize for everybody listening where their devices might be going off in the background. I'm waiting for mine to now. I think she's lit up, which is its highest ever weekly increase. So for me, that means that, you know, people maybe, you know, as much as they are turning to music and entertainment, they also want to be kept up to date with the latest news and, you know, everything that's going on, which maybe is why it's important that we do discuss this topic.
I suppose if you've spent the last 16 hours playing Xbox, you probably want to have something a little bit different. Maybe you just want to listen to the radio. You know?
Yeah. And again, maybe it's that social aspect. Maybe that we're not going out, we're having that interaction with our friends, with our family, with our peers. You know, maybe it is that you want to listen to somebody else's voice, you want to listen to somebody talk. I'm sure that's not the case with tonight's show, but
I'm sure our 5 viewers will love it. You know.
Yes, I actually think we were due to give a couple of shout outs. A big shout out to Steve Bartram. You know, very, very chuffed that Steve has tuned in. Hello, Steve. And a big hello to Sarah Wright as well, Steve, who's also tuned in.
Oh, hey,
hello,
Sarah.
Everybody.
Hi, Sarah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Again, as we said, we're all very nervous. This is all very new to us. So please do get in touch. You can contact us on facebook.com/Pure West Radio. So yeah, let's hear some more music. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Well, let's see if I lose my headphones again.
Yeah, well, if you do, don't be yapping in the background asking if we can hear you.
Can I give a quick shout out to Emmy here as well? Because Emmy has just messaged to say, excuse my voice, so good to see you and hear you back on.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody who's getting in touch. It really means the world to us. We really need your support tonight more than ever.
Thank you.
Right. Definitely.
It's time for a very exciting new feature called The Cover Up, where every episode we are going to be looking at 2 covers that we think are up there with, they are as good, if not better than the original. Now, I'm really excited for this one. Mike,
controversial. Yes,
this takes us back to many summers ago, in particular with the second track that we're going to hear. The first track we're going to hear is by a band called Walk Off the Earth. You may have seen them. They are a global phenomenon, from playing songs on giant guitars to doing a whole song just using a car. We've got a cover from them tonight of Old Town Road. Sorry, let's get the words out there. Originally by Billy Ray Cyrus and Lil Nas. Straight after that, we've got The Beef Seeds. Mike, don't forget to subscribe.
Well, a couple of my old friends from Newport, of course they are.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly with these guys, despite sounding like they're from the deep south of America, they are actually from Newport.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, all of them.
Let's hear some music then. Old Town Road by Walk Off the Earth, and then we have the Beef Seeds cover of Wake Me Up by Avicii.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. That was a blast to make. If your horse is tricked out with a sub, then you need to stream or download this song now. We're always on tour, so click the link in the description for a show near you. If you'd like to support our videos, then check out our Patreon page for some exclusive perks. Now why don't you go ahead and poke that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you next week. Peace in.
Pure West Radio.
Well, howdy, y'all. We're the Beef Seeds Country Music, and this is our cover of Wake Me Up by Avachai. Avorchai. Avocor.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand, say I'm caught up in a dream. Life will pass me by if I don't open up my eyes, and that's alright by me. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know is a game played by everyone, and love is the prize. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. I didn't know I was lost. Oh, I didn't know I was lost. Well, I didn't know I was lost. I didn't know I was lost.
Beef Seeds there, and before that we had Walk Off the Earth, two amazing covers.
That was awesome.
And what I love about those two gents, and this is something that I'm really looking at moving forward with this feature. We've had some feedback on the feature already, lots of love for it, which is great. With those two tracks in particular, is just how the artist completely made those songs their own, particularly the Beef Seeds. When have you ever heard Avicii turned into like country music? It's fantastic.
I don't know. Have you ever heard Walk Off the Earth's video? They're playing it mainly with bells, and they're all going in sync.
Yeah, there's like
it's amazing.
There's stones in a little cup in the center.
Yeah,
and
they all take turns.
Percussion. It's absolutely amazing.
Beef awesome.
I was going to say, Mike, it's like that track where they do the whole track on the car. This isn't working, is it? Brilliant, yeah, but like that track that they play the whole track on the car.
The Beef Seeds, I loved their intros.
Oh,
their intros are awesome.
Hilarious.
That was amazing.
Totally.
Definitely make sure that you do exactly what they both said. Go over and subscribe. Follow them on YouTube and social media, because the artistry behind their music is absolutely phenomenal. Let's crack on now with the discussion. No, who, the Beef Seeds?
Yeah, they've created another group, which is great. But the Beef Seeds, they went to the top, and I think they went their separate ways.
Interesting, and a massive shame, but really interested in what they're up to now. So maybe that's something that we can look at in the future, is maybe trying to feature them in some way. Let's get back to the discussion at hand, and let's move on ever so slightly, and let's discuss maybe. We've talked about COVID up until this point. We've talked about how it's affected the industry, how it's affected musicians, in particular mental health, the ability to express oneself. But let's talk about the long-term effects and maybe how we return to the music industry. It does seem, I don't want to be too optimistic, because, we've been back and forth, like a yo-yo, in and out of lockdown so much I've had whiplash. But how do we return? It looks like we're coming towards the end of this awful pandemic, or certainly there's light at the end of the tunnel. Lots of people receiving the vaccine, etc., etc. How do we return to music, and how does the industry recover?
We all get Zorb balls, right?
I'm so glad you've mentioned that.
Is that an actual thing? Hang on. Is that an actual thing?
It's an actual thing.
It's actually been done.
Oh my God.
It's been done.
Fantastic.
It's something that, I mean, would we sacrifice that? Would we sacrifice? I mean, first of all, would we sacrifice breathing to go to a live venue? Because surely you run out of oxygen in those things.
Can you imagine Slipknot?
Well,
phenomenal.
It'd be amazing.
For those of you trying to fill in the blanks there with what we're talking about, I'm really disappointed in myself for not being better prepared, because I did actually have the article ready to refer to. But there was a band who did a full-on live concert, but the audience were all in those Zorb balls, in those bubbles.
That's awesome.
And I just think that's an absolutely great idea.
I mean, as a gimmick, that's amazing. Probably not the most sustainable thing long term.
Definitely. I imagine there's some injuries on there.
Well, lack thereof. What are you going to do?
All that, yeah. Probably no more injuries than
no more injuries, and that's no fun. You need a good injury if you're going to a mosh pit. Not so much, just a Bieber gig, but yeah. I mean, like long term, it's a weird one to think about, because we kind of got to this point where we're like, yeah, well, I guess this is it now. But there's got to be an end to it, and in some way, live music has got to really return. It's got to make a comeback, and that's obviously one of the biggest issues right now. We can get the streams out there, we can get the albums, obviously, but the biggest part of that is going around performing live music, and that is going to be the biggest glaring issue for musicians moving forward. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's. I think first of all, if we look at the impact moving forward, the massive fear that a lot of our loved venues aren't going to be able to reopen. That they've already lost too much money, that they've thrown the towel in. Funding from the government hasn't been fantastic in the arts industry, and you do empathise to a certain level. Financially, the industry is going to be in dire straits, but the arts industry offers so much to society in general, but also financially. There's billions of pounds generated from this industry.
Yeah, of course.
And we've got to find a better way to protect it. So we've got the worry venues may not reopen. The other thing that kind of I've thought about is that during this lockdown, while musicians haven't been able to be out working, have they moved to different careers? Have they managed to find themselves a kind of normal run-of-the-mill job that would supply what they need income-wise, and maybe therefore not return? Are we going to lose some of our best venues, but also some of our best up-and-coming musicians?
Potentially. I mean, it was hard enough, like we've said this before, we've reverberated this before, but it's hard enough already. And without that support there, musicians can't make a practical impact even as much as they used to. And venues cannot really return to the same way that they were for a long time, potentially, if ever. I mean, you think about where we are, we're in Pembrokeshire. I mean, London, somewhere like that might bounce back, no worries. But I mean, in Pembrokeshire, it was already, pretty limited.
Suffering.
Yeah.
And that's the, some of the best talent comes out of some of the most obscure places, and without that support, a lot of rural places are going to just lose everything, lose a lot of their culture.
Absolutely. You can see the comment there from Kirsten Osborne, one of my favourite female artists. Kirsten, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Absolutely agree with you. Let's be positive. Let's say that we are coming towards the end of the pandemic, and therefore that we can start turning into some form of normality, whatever that is, because I can't quite remember. How do we return to the local music industry? I'm not talking about, going to the O2, going to the Motor Point to see some of the biggest artists and acts in the world. Yes, obviously that's a big part of the industry, but I'm talking locally, unsigned, down your local venue, supporting your local artists. How do we return? Is it going to be a case, do you think, of waiting until COVID is no longer a threat and we are bang back to normal? Do we return with reduced numbers and social distancing? And how does that all work?
Mike?
Well, they've come up and said that from May the 17th at the earliest, indoor venues of either 1,000 people or half their venue's capacity, whichever is lower, are going to be allowed to start again. Outdoor venues are 4,000 or half full, and the bigger outdoor venues where crowds can be spread out, it's 10,000 people or a quarter full, whichever is lowest. But apart from that, that's all that's going on. Obviously, June 21st, then they're saying that all social distancing rules are going to be scrapped. Yeah, we'll see.
I just to go back a second, we can see Kirsten's comment at the bottom of the screen there. I've got to go back for our listeners that are listening on the radio. Of course, for those that are tuned in, we are streaming live on Facebook and social media, but we are westradio.com as well. So I've just said have a look at Kirsten's comment, but of course I'm going to have to read it out as well, aren't I? Because there are a lot of people that aren't going to be able to see it. So of course, Kirsten says, I'm praying that our industry and our beautiful venues will survive this. So many venues were struggling anyway without the pandemic. That's a really good point, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And she followed up after that.
Grace Parry, who we're going to hear a little bit later on the show, really excited for that. She said, that's promising to hear. At least that's something. Mike, I think that's in reply to your comment.
Well, I don't want to put a downer on it, but with this June 21st lifting all restrictions, I just think they're pushing it a bit too far to start with. Yes, agree with all the numbers on May 17th onwards. Brilliant.
Yeah.
To drop or scrap social distancing completely is a bit, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah,
that's just
I like
my opinion.
Kirsten's followed up with, we all need to pull together, do some big variety shows.
Love it.
Get all the local entertainers to perform at the lovely local venues to get them up and running again, support each other through it. I think that's an absolutely fantastic comment. It's absolutely right. Definitely.
I think overall, Kirsten's spot on, as Grace has just said as well. I think when we do return from this, we are going to have to, and as lots of other industries as well. Let's not just single out the local music industry. The whole country's on its arse. So what we really need to do is really start supporting some of these industries that have struggled the most. Some of our local shops, local businesses, and of course the local music industry. As soon as we can, we really do need to get out there and support and pay the money to go and see gigs and
all the other arts as well.
Of course,
all the other
absolutely.
Arts.
Absolutely. And we are going to be coming on very shortly, and we're going to have a look at other ways that we might be able to support certainly local, unsigned, up-and-coming artists while we're not going to live music. What else can we be doing now while we do that? What I am going to do now is play a track that I'm really excited for. It's a track by alt trio from Cardiff. They're called User Busy. The track is called Chewing Gum. It was released last month. It's the first single from their debut album, Leave a Message, which is coming soon. Been looking forward to this one all day. I've heard the song a couple of times. I've been chatting to the guys from User Busy. So here we are, producer Tom, when you're ready. This is User Busy with Chewing Gum.
You're not an actress, you're a victim in disguise, and all
alt rock trio from Cardiff. User Busy there with Chewing Gum, their debut
really cool
single from their brand new album, Leave a Message, which will be coming very, very soon. I'd like to welcome on with us. Ian's on a little bit early. Hello, Ian. We'll speak to you later. We're going to ignore you for now, mate. I do apologise. But Kaylee, hello. How are you? And we've got Rob.
Hi.
Amazing. Hello. Kaylee, you are muted, my love. Oh, there we are.
Oh, there we go. And there's Matt. Hello.
Matt.
Hey, guys.
We have the whole lineup of Ignitemares on the show. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited to have you on.
It's good to be here. It's good to see you.
It's a little bit different to the last time you were on, Kaylee.
Yeah, just a bit.
Isn't it? Obviously, you were in the studio with me many, many moons ago when we were in complete normality with some of your solo stuff.
Yeah, and it was very good fun.
Good. Really, really, really glad to have you then, and glad to have the three of you now. Obviously, we actually know each other quite well.
Yes, we do.
Well, I think we've all played together musically. Mike, don't get excited. A couple of times before. In a previous band of yours, Mike's joined the party. Let's talk about, first of all, before we start talking about what you've been up to with Ignitemares, I'd like to ask you how you guys have found the lockdown and how it's impacted your guys's, if that's a word, creativity. And yeah, I've just made it up. It's fine.
Sure.
How it's impacted, you as individuals and as musicians.
I was going to wait for one of those two to jump in first, but if they're not, I'll just do it.
You've drawn the straw, sure.
Yeah, I was waiting for everybody else, right?
So, get three socially awkward people in a band to come on a radio thing was such a good idea.
Hey, try.
Yeah, we basically we took it as like an excuse to get stuff done. Basically, like the downtime of lockdown, we all had enough of equipment and stuff to do stuff from home. So like awesome. Matt, right before it kicked off, Matt took a laptop and an electric drum kit to Rob's house. and we all started like demoing things and like writing ideas and just doing a lot of writing and messing stuff up. And we wrote a single and released it in COVID for fun, just distantly with all digital stuff. We had no idea what we were doing, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's out there.
That's awesome. I guess that's one thing that isn't said about a lot of the time. But you know what? A lot of artists out there, you guys included, have made the most of COVID. And make the most of COVID is probably a bad way of saying it. But you've done what you've adapted. I think that's a strong word we're going to be using.
Yeah, and, definitely.
Made it your own.
We're part of a label called Smash Mouse Records, and we had this idea back in the summer when the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remastered games were happening.
Amazing.
We decided to do a compilation of covers. So loads of bands on the label did a compilation together, and so it's all like hodgepodge recordings of us at home doing stuff together, and we did loads for it because we were bored.
Yeah.
So like Matt produced a song for one of the bands. We did 2 songs as Ignitemares. I did a solo song that Matt produced, and we were all we're all over it. We were bored so much. It was like, yeah, we'll just get on with it.
I love it.
Fantastic. What about then in terms of, and I know Kaylee, you and I hope you don't mind me saying, you and I are going to talk a little bit later on another kind of sideshow about kind of emotional and mental well-being during lockdown. So for the boys, really, how has it affected you guys in terms of expressing yourself? Have you missed being at gigs? Has that affected you mentally and emotionally?
Oh yeah, I definitely missed in gigs because, as you know, Rob, I was part of the Pirate in Carmarthen until it closed. So I had the shock of 2019 again, of the fact that I don't have to spend every night in a venue. What do I do now? And then 2020 hit, and it's like I've now can sit in my bedroom.
Spending
it's like I can't go out anyway. I can't go and see gigs in Swansea like I was doing and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, same for me, really. Say you get used to going up and playing gigs every now and then, getting lined up, and then all of a sudden, then it's just that dead cut of absolutely nothing. But on the flip side, I suppose, like we said about the recordings with Matt bringing the stuff over, I've learned a bit about how to use Logic because I had no idea behind the scenes. I was the same in college. I basically went to just try and find a band and then stayed there for 2 years.
Fair play to you.
So that kind of side of stuff that the guys have helped me with. So I've learned how to do a bit more the tech side of stuff. So that's
Question about that: did you just go to college like I did, just to play instruments with people? Was that your main?
It was like
that was mine.
All three of us.
Yeah, there we go. See.
It was like the closest thing that I could get to without a lot of the theory side of it, and there was no exam. It was coursework. And then I met these guys, and then passed the course, by the way.
Well done. Congratulations.
But
Very well done.
I just wanted to play music. Just wanted to play.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome.
Let's talk a little bit, guys, if it's okay, about this new single and what the plans are for you moving forward. So who wants to come in and talk about the single itself?
You're going to make it be me, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. We all know. We're all looking at you.
Everyone's looking at me. Oh, that's horrible. Never, ever look at me. So San Junipero is the single. We recorded 2 singles in summer of 2019. And the first one was Let's Dolores. We released that in beginning of 2020 before COVID hit. And the other one, we had a music video idea for, which we filmed right before COVID hit. And then we had to sit on it because the video had to be edited and everything else. But it's literally taken a year for the video to be ready. So we've had to sit on this single for a really long time. And it's one of our favorite songs. It was like our opener for ages for a lot of shows. It's a really like kind of quintessential pop punk song. Like it has all of the early 2000s energy from all of those sorts of bands, but it's written from the perspective of being in your 30s and old and boring.
Oh, amazing.
So the song is generally like, if you think of songs like Blink-182's Feeling This or Want You Bad by The Offspring, that whole like youthful energy and songs about sex, and it's that, except it's like, so we've got a mortgage. Yeah. And we've got a scheduled couple time in between, going to work and putting the bins out and everything. It's like that kind of idea.
Finally, some relatable music.
Amazing.
That's how I roll, though, isn't it?
That is
me and Rob were discussing this, and I was listening to your music. I was like, oh God, I need that. I was listening to it. I was like, oh, that pop punk, beautiful, blissful revival that I've needed for so long, and there it was, and I was like, oh, fair dues, you guys. I could hear the influences, and I was like, amazing, fantastic. And just to kind of almost be like a, hey, where are they now?
Yeah, exactly, a bit of a revival.
It's this weird thing, like when it comes to marketing, like we didn't know how to describe ourselves, because like we touch on pop punk, but pop punk doesn't mean what pop punk used to mean. So like modern pop punk now is completely different, and we don't fit in there at all. It's like a 2000s nostalgia nod.
What are the plans for you guys moving forward then? So when we get back to some form of normality, whatever that is, I can't quite remember. How do you guys see yourselves returning? What are your plans?
Well, we want to record an album, don't we? Don't we?
Yeah.
Right. So Kaylee wants to record an album.
Never, just EPs forever. No album.
Brilliant.
No, I mean we've got like enough material for a full album. We're mostly just debating what the last song would be, because we have so much material that it doesn't. We have too much for an album, effectively. So we're trying to work out what songs. Yeah, so we like are really solid on like the first 9 songs, and then it's like one song at the end, and we're like, I don't know which. Yeah, but that's what we're stuck on. The problem is that we want to be able to get into a rehearsal room to bash out the ideas and see what works. But obviously,
which is another thing
from lockdown as well. So we're going to take some of the like recording at home ideas to speed up the demoing process of how it will sound. So we're not wasting entire days in the studio going, oh, what's this guitar sound like? We can just go whack it in.
We're kind of moving away from studio ideas. Like every time I've gone into a studio, I've left going, oh, I wish I'd been able to do this, or I wish I'd had time for that, and it's been annoying. So we're thinking of self-recording as best we can, and then paying for a producer, not paying for a studio. If that makes sense.
Not like when we recorded our EP in a pub.
Yeah, not like that. That's terrible. Never ever listen to the Grim Citizens EP.
Oh no, that's on repeat in the background when I shower.
Of course.
You must hate yourself greatly. But yeah,
Right.
no, yeah, so yeah, that's it. We're going to record an album. There you go.
Let's listen to the new single. I'm really excited for this. And guys, I know it's been brief. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll get you on again now. When you've got more material, when the album's ready, we'll have a catch up. Hopefully post COVID, and maybe we can all kind of hook up live as well. Maybe come to see you. So if anyone would now. Producer Tom is ready to press play. Would anyone now like to introduce the new track?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Someone.
Here you go, guys. We're Ignite Mates, and this is our new single out April 16th called San Junipero.
Cheers, guys.
No, we like that.
Let's shut the fuck up for once and let our bodies talk. I've been waiting for a night off to get you alone in the dark. See, I'm no longer a kid. No, this isn't hormonal. This is love, pragmatic and scheduled. Do you like this lingerie I bought? I got it all you're the one I'm dreaming of. I wanna give you all of me, but your body driving me to the degree. I just wanna feel your touch, kissing down my neck until we make sweet love. I love you till the morning light. You know I'd love to feel your body on me all the time. I really need you here tonight.
I need you here, I need you here, I need you here, baby.
You got my mind in overdrive.
Overdrive, I'm overdrive for your loving.
They told us we should take our time.
Take the time, baby, yeah.
You're the one I want for life. 'Cause you make it real. You make the stars come out. Baby, it's your loving I can do without. I just really wanna let you know I never wanna let you go. 'Cause you make it real. The one that closed that door. Come on, let me show you what your heart beats for. I'm gonna give you all of me, so come and put it down for me. 'Cause you make it real.
You make it real. You make it real. You make it real. You make it real.
Come on, baby, take it up. I don't need control, 'cause you can be the boss. I wanna give you all of me, make it real life feel just like a fantasy. Ooh, now baby, turn off the light. You know I'm gonna love you till the morning light. I wanna hear your melody, come and whisper in my ear until you make me scream. I really need you here tonight.
I need you here, I need you here, I need you here, baby.
You got my mind in overdrive.
Overdrive, I'm overdrive for your loving.
They told us we should take our time.
Take the time, baby, yeah.
You're the one I want for life. 'Cause you make it real. You make the stars come out. Baby, it's your loving I can do without. I just really wanna let you know I never wanna let you go. 'Cause you make it real. The one that closed that door. Come on, let me show you what your heart beats for. I'm gonna give you all of me, so come and put it down for me.
It's crazy, my baby, the way you care for me. I know it's real, 'cause you give more than you take from me. Girl, you ride my body like a wave. I just wanna penetrate your mind, show the real you. Keep it 100, we could go awesome forever. Baby, that's real, real, real.
You make the stars come out. Baby, it's your loving I can do without. I just really wanna let you know I never wanna let you go. 'Cause you make it real. The one that closed that door. Come on, let me show you what your heart beats for. I'm gonna give you all of me, so come and put it down for me. Make it real. You make the stars come out. Baby, it's your loving I can do without. I just really wanna let you know I never wanna let you go. 'Cause you make it real. The one that closed that door. Come on, let me show you what your heart beats for. I'm gonna give you all of me, so come and put it down for me. 'Cause you make it real.
Follow Pure West Radio on Facebook. Search for Pure West Radio.
Summer days, they came and went. Nothing's changed and we've had 7 months since then. And I'm at rest in your comfort. You and I have something I never thought I'd get. And I've been waiting so long to hear the kind of voice that can change all that is wrong. So when I'm lost, will you take my hand? Will you show me what it feels like to be happy as I am? When I'm down, someone as generous and true. And I will wait all week through if it means I get to spend just a single day with you. So when I'm lost, will you take my hand? Will you show me what it feels like to be happy as I am? And when I'm down, will you light up the dark? Will you hold me through the cold night where I can hear the beating sound of your heart? When I'm lying next to you, I've never seen eyes more beautiful and blue. So when I'm lost, will you take my hand? Will you show me what it feels like to be happy as I am? When I'm down, will you light up the dark? Will you hold me through the cold night where I can hear the beating sound of your heart? You take my hand, where I can hear the beating sound of your heart. Will you light up the dark, where I can hear the beating sound of your heart?
Grace Parry, first of all, there she is from Swansea. Amazing woman. She started singing at the age of 3, playing piano at 6, and songwriting at 12. She's been performing professionally since the age of 17, so she's incredible. She's tuned
It's
in there. You
amazing.
can see her comments. Well done, Grace. That was her single reel. Okay.
was
Then we
beautiful.
had Sean Richards, again from Swansea, South Wales, self-taught guitarist, which again is phenomenal. And we had her single, In Your Heart. What do you reckon,
Beautiful.
guys? Beautiful track.
Absolutely beautiful. They were very powerful.
Just to remind everybody, celebrating International Women's Day, Mother's Day, we are going to be playing lots of female artists, female-fronted artists, and none more than our upcoming feature in the Spotlight, which I'm really looking forward to. We're going to play that right away, and then we're going to invite our good friend, colleague, Ian Davis, on just to have a quick catch-up, and we're going to hear from the perspective of a music journalist as well. But first of all, let's introduce our next few songs. We're going to have a triple play now. We are running out of time, so I'm trying to squeeze it all in. We've got 26th Avenue, which is a London-based 4-piece indie rock band formed in 2018, made up of Demi, Lewis, Alex, and Joe. Debut EP Fuel the Fire was released in December last year, providing anthems for love and heartbreak, which I absolutely love. That's right up my street. That is. Inspired by Paramore and Fleetwood Mac, the band create a body of work that captures the highs and lows of love and the tangled emotions of heartbreak that comes with it as well. Comprised of 4 tracks, Fuel the Fire captures the band's non-conforming nature as they reveal their vulnerable side for this new installment. I am really, really excited for this. I've been following the band on Instagram. I literally just came across them accidentally. Followed them from very, very early on. And I messaged them a couple of weeks ago and I said, listen, we're kicking off the radio and I really want you guys to be featured. So we've teamed up, and they are this new format, Making Noise, first in the Spotlight feature. We're going to hear 3 tracks from them back to back: Disillusion, February Tears, and Flare. All from the album Fuel the Fire. Make sure that you go and follow them on the socials. Let's hear the tracks now without further ado. I think we're going to hear Disillusion first. We'll play them all the way through and then we'll have a catch up afterwards. So producer Tom, when you're ready, here.
Take it away.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm dodging your questions.
Hit it, Tom.
'Cause I don't have the answers. No, not tonight. No, not tonight. You asked me to come over. You're messing with my head again. won't find it here. I know that you want something more. 'Cause now I'm stronger. I'm fine without you as it gets longer. I understand the truth. You didn't keep me warm at night. Now I'm wiser. I'm dealing on my own. I'm a fighter. And girl, I should have known that everything would be just fine. I'm avoiding your phone calls, 'cause I don't wanna talk to you. I'm messing around with someone new. Yeah, someone new. And now our song's on the radio, and you can turn the volume loud, only when no one's around. No one's around. And I know what you're looking for. I tell you, you won't find it here. I know that you want something more. 'Cause now I'm stronger. I'm fine without you as it gets longer. I understand the truth. You didn't keep me warm at night. Now I'm wiser. I'm dealing on my own. I'm a fighter. And girl, I should have known that everything would be just fine. And I know what you're looking for. I tell you, you won't find it here. I know that you want something more. 'Cause now I'm stronger. I'm fine without you as it gets longer. I understand the truth. You didn't keep me warm at night. And now I'm wiser. I'm dealing on my own. I'm a fighter. Girl, I should have known that everything would be just fine. I'm glad I said goodbye for the last time. I'm glad I said goodbye.
Listen live at purewestradio.com.
You look different in the daylight. Darkness doesn't hold me like you. Another night when nothing happened. And the contradictions based on you.
Pure West Radio. For Pembrokeshire, from Pembrokeshire.
.26th Avenue there, London-based four-piece indie rock band. I'm absolutely blown away by them. I think they are incredible. Can you see why I picked them to be in the spotlight?
Yeah, amazing.
Definitely.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Listen, before we start, we're going to welcome Ian on any minute. I think he's coming on now.
There he is.
But before we do, a couple of shout outs before we get too excited by the presence of an international music journalist. I would like to give a couple of shout outs. Kirsten Osborne, we've mentioned you already, but we can never mention you enough, Kirsten. You are incredible. Grace Parry, I'd like to say hello. Thank you for tuning in. We heard your music on the show a little bit earlier. Helen Marie, thank you very much for tuning in. Karen Osborne as well. We've had message from you. Lola, hello Lola. Thank you for tuning in. And Nikki Lloyd as well. You absolute legend. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. Don't forget, we are broadcasting live on purewestradio.com, but of course we're all over the socials as well. On Facebook, we're streaming live, YouTube and Twitter. I suppose the biggest shout out that I need to give is the guy that's doing all the work behind the scenes, Tom. Tom, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, mate. We couldn't be without you today, could we? What a producer. What a producer. As soon as we can buy him a pint, we're going to have to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you could buy
we could buy him some beers right now, but we'll wait. We'll wait until it's here.
We'll wait. Well, you guys, you haven't even met him. I haven't even met him. He's an absolute legend. Anyway, back onto the subject. What do you guys think of 26th Avenue?
absolutely awesome.
Great energy. Great energy.
Totally glued to all those tracks.
That energy is definitely the word there. I was loving it. And yeah, it's got that kind of reminiscence of that kind of genre that I've heard before, but in a nice, fresh way, and that's definitely needed right now. You know.
Yeah, like I said, I came across them back on social media, and I've kind of watched them grow, release their single 206, which was the first single. So we didn't hear that. That's the fourth track from the album Fuel the Fire. But yeah, I literally can't get enough of them. I think they're phenomenal. The socials for those as well, by the way, guys, because exactly, you're gonna want to go and you're gonna want to go and follow them. You're gonna want to go and like them. They are at 26th Ave Band. That's 26th THAVE Band. Okay, so definitely head over, like them, share them, and just support.
Send them a press pack.
Okay, it looks like we haven't got. I'm struggling at the minute. I'm struggling at the minute with the old lockdown mop. That's a problem that you two guys don't seem to be having.
Hey, I shaved mine today, mate.
I'm all good. Yeah.
Yeah,
mine's pretty much hat hair, and this ain't coming off, and it's stayed on for a long time.
Well, that is a very good point. I'm glad that you made the effort to shave for the show. So thank you for that.
Mate. I looked like a
Chewbacca
person. So,
if we can for a second go back onto the topic for today, which is COVID and obviously the impact on the music industry, how we move forward, and I want to focus on that, how we move forward, and in particular maybe the short term, certainly the rest of 2021. One of the big questions on a lot of people's lips is about some of the bigger live music events such as festivals. We heard that Glastonbury is cancelled, I think.
Yes, it is.
Ian's joined us. Hello, Ian. We'll come to you in a minute. Are you there?
Download is also cancelled.
Yeah. Reading and Leeds going ahead?
Reading and Leeds are going ahead. Now, what they've said, the organisers have said they're very confident they'll go ahead with it.
Yeah.
But obviously the government's plan to scrap the limits on social contact, only in England at the moment, obviously not Wales, by the 21st of June, as long as COVID is under control. So if that happens, then yes, they'll go ahead. But the Association of Independent Festivals have also said that you'll have to excuse my voice, everyone, if you just tuned in, because I'm losing it. The 2021 festival season is by no means guaranteed at this point. And Reading and Leeds festivals shouldn't be used as like a barometer for the whole market, because it's still a bit.
Of course, we're on a roller coaster.
It is. I mean, June obviously cancelled. Download Glastonbury, no. August Boomtown, no decision yet. Obviously, if it was going to go ahead, Anna Wade probably would have already announced the headliners by now anyway.
Yeah.
But there's nothing definite. They want to schedule. They are scheduled for early August, but there's nothing definite. Creamfields is going ahead.
Mike, I'm wondering, and you may not know, I'm wondering if there is any activity in terms of what the restrictions will be. If we're going ahead with Reading and Leeds, have they got numbers? Have they talked about social distancing and things like that?
This is the thing. If they go ahead, I mean, when are they? I think it's August, isn't it? August 27th or 29th.
Yeah.
So by then, they're hoping that the June 21st restrictions would have been lifted. But obviously, they're saying, how do we do it? Do we make sure everybody's got a vaccine, or do we test everybody when they buy a ticket? They're going to test, and if they're positive, they don't come in. I don't know how they're going to do it. There's not much information I can find on it, to be honest, Rob. There's not much.
I'm interested. Ian, before we go any further, can you hear us, Ian?
Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic. We'll come to you in a minute, Ian. I do apologise for being a little bit ignorant. I'm wondering, and Ian, I'm happy to have your input as well on this. What are your opinions on the potential of a vaccination passport?
I think it's a huge necessity. I mean, if you think about how things have gone over the last so many weeks, months, God, it seems like years, doesn't it? You know, especially since we've been together. I think it's important, absolutely important, because it'll force the guidelines even more, because people will have to, abide by what's been put in place.
Mike, Mark, what are your thoughts? Would you be happy to have to prove that you've had the vaccinations before being allowed into an event like a live music event?
You know how I feel about everything, and it's just my.
Let's
opinion.
not get too.
I'm not. This isn't a conspiracy show. Do you know what I mean? But, no,
that's for a different show. We'll have to speak to Toby about that. Karen Osborne, Karen has got in touch with us. She agrees with Ian on vaccination passports. Do get in touch with us, everybody, guys. We are streaming live on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Pure West Radio. Come in, get your opinions over to us.
I think, right, mass testing would be more productive than vaccination passports when it comes to this sort of thing. You know, you have a test as you go in. If you're negative, you're in. If you're positive, you're out.
So what happens, Mike?
And still, you don't know if you can still catch it or not.
Okay, what happens with the people who have purchased the tickets that are then maybe going to be turned away if they're posting if they're testing positive?
Have a refund.
How do you think that's going to have an impact, though? Here's my issue with that. How is that going to have a financial impact on the organisers? You know, if they're turning away a third of people who have bought their tickets through no fault of either party, and they're having to have a full refund, how are they going to afford to run?
Exactly. But the other side of the argument is that the vaccinations aren't 100%. You're not going to catch it, so maybe they should do both. I don't know.
Mark, you're very quiet, which worries me because it's not like you.
I wasn't trying to. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to butt in. I don't know. It's a very sensitive topic, isn't it? Because even those that are classically not classified as, or don't classify themselves as being, you know, sort of quote unquote conspiracy theorists, are kind of dodgy about the fact that, you know, hey, we've got to have a passport now. We've got to have a vaccine passport. That is something that, you know, people are reserved about. And with the amount of information out there, with whether we call it misinformation or not, depending on who's looking at it, you know, people are reserved about this. I think it could cause a lot of issues potentially. But I do see it as being integral. I think the only way we're going to be able to move past this at all is realistically, if there's some sort of check in place. Otherwise, it feels like we're never going to move forward.
I do wonder whether this is, well, it's a very interesting conversation. I'm really interested for people's opinions on this, because I know that there are a lot of people that I've spoken to, people myself, who are maybe a bit passionate about not having the vaccine.
Of course.
And then is that a violation of human rights? Is that discrimination then if they are not allowed to?
It's a very big topic, isn't it? I mean,
it's a show in itself, isn't it?
I used to be very sort of I used to be very sort of not that I've changed at all, but you know, I was very, very passionate about being vaccinated and everything like that. But I can certainly understand why in the last sort of 12 months or so, especially, that people are more reserved about what's happening. I think there hasn't been a great amount of information. People don't trust anything right now. And so, you know, they're being told to, you got to do anything, to go out to pubs, to go to venues. You got to have this vaccination done. You got to have. If you're already within that mindset of, well, that's not right. That shouldn't be happening. Well, this is just 10 times worse, and I think it is going to create, a lot of friction with a lot of people. People that I think should be taken very seriously.
Moving on, because we are strict for time at the minute. Ian, I'd like to welcome you to the show. I'm sorry, that we haven't been able to welcome you earlier. The plan was to get you on a lot earlier, but as you're aware, this topic is massive, and the discussion and the debate has been massive. It's been a mass debate.
See, we haven't been in the same room in all this time, and it still happens.
And we're already masturbating together.
We are, all of us.
I mean, even though I was pretty premature earlier, you know what I mean?
Just to officially welcome Ian Davis, international music journalist, director of Stargazing Music Magazine. We've asked Ian, we've asked Ian to come on because I'm quite interested in picking Ian's brains and really seeing a music journalist's take on things. Now, unfortunately, Ian, I'm really sorry, but we are going to have to kind of rush it, if you like. But the invitation is out there for you to come on to the next show as well. Ian, you are going to be a big part of the show moving forward, which we're really happy about. A lot of the music that we've played tonight has come from you and Stargazer.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty. It's like a running tap at the moment. 100 acts covered since middle of March last year when we went into this pandemic.
What's been your pick of the night so far in terms of artist?
The ones I've given you.
Okay, well, there we are. There's the answer. No, exactly.
To be honest with you, see, I've already forgotten the names, but they were all sitting at the bottom of the screen there earlier. The Ignite Mares. What an energy that band has got. Both in their music, but also, in the interview. And you know what they said? This is what it's all about. The fact that they thought outside the box and they've just carried on and tried to achieve and work their way around this pandemic and not let it beat them. And they've just carried on, almost reinventing themselves, redeveloping themselves. In fact, I'm saying, thinking outside the box, they've thrown the box away.
Absolutely.
And this is what it's all about. And there's a great many artists out there at the moment that are actually doing that. But it's hard for a lot of people. What was that, Mike?
I said, would you say they hit the ground running?
All those phrases are going to come out now.
We got all the cliches coming tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Ian, I'd like to ask you, and like I said, I really apologise because we are going to have to kind of rush with it, which isn't great. What I'd like to ask you, Ian, is your take on how, from a music journalist's perspective, how COVID has affected, the industry as a whole, but in particular, what's the impact been like for you and for Stargazer? Because I know that you and I have kept in touch over the entire lockdown. We're very good friends off the mic as well. And I know that actually Stargazer's, colleagues, acquaintances. I know that Stargazer's had a very successful 12 months, which is surprising in an industry that currently is drowning under the pressure of COVID-19.
I did gulp like we all did when this all happened. Like we all thought, how are we going to cope? And especially with the music industry, being the way it is. But what's been happening, and this is not just for the magazine, it's been for many other magazines. A lot of record companies and record labels and artist media, PR agencies have been leaning on music magazines more and more because literally to pick up the slack, because artists can't gig, they can't tour. And this is the time they'd be promoting those albums. So they've been leaning on magazines more and more. And I think third week into the lockdown last year, I was buried 62 bands and article potentials deep, and running up till the day before Christmas Eve, I'd written my 100th article in that time. And what was that, 10 months or whatever it was, we're already on article 35 since the 11th of January, and they're still coming in. But there's been no change for the magazine for those reasons I've just told you. But many magazines are picking up that slack now. So, short of not being able to go out on the road, that's the biggest thing. Because as you know, Rob, I'm always out there, London, Brighton, in the car, off to venues. Even like judging on the Welsh Factor, missed that terribly because it was like that big family gathering with all the artists and their families. But it is hard. And one thing that America has been doing a lot of, almost like drive-in gigs, like a drive-in movie. It's a shame we couldn't do something like that in this country.
Yeah, that's something that interestingly,
yeah,
it's something that interestingly I was quite eager to look at in the discussion of how we recover, and we kind of skipped that one out. But yeah, absolutely, drive-in movies, drive-in gigs. Sit in your car.
I did see there was like one company, I'm sure that I saw it in the news not that long ago, where they were doing sort of like drive-in movies. That was over here, so I mean that would be
they're doing
really
drive-in
cool.
movies, but why couldn't we do a drive-in gig?
Definitely.
Keep your horn, flash your lights, instead of being able to applaud.
Okay.
You could easily put a burger bar one side of the stage. You could have soft drinks the other, because obviously there's a lot of people going to be driving.
Instead of waving lighters, you can just put your indicators on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Wouldn't even need to light the stage, would you?
Love it. Listen, what we're going to have to do now, unfortunately, and like I said, I'm really sorry if having to cut you short, because we had planned for you to have far more of an impact on the show tonight than unfortunately you have had. But the invitation is there for us to work something out.
It was going to be a late one for me anyway. It was a very late finish for the magazine tonight.
Yeah.
So, fair play. But I think it's still foggy in my room, look. I'm sure it's this light.
That light now. Ian, I'm really, really excited for Making Noise in Pure West Radio to be working alongside Stargazer Music Magazine to get your insight on some of the mass debates that we're going to be doing together, but also obviously the music that you're going to be sending over. Like we said, several of the tracks tonight have come directly from Stargazer Music Magazine in association with lots of other labels and organizations such as Heartright Agency, Breaking Music Magazine, etc. So really, really excited to be working with you moving forward.
Are you okay, Rob? You sound like you masturbated too much.
There's going to be a lot more coming over the weeks, literally as we speak. So I'll keep sending them to you, and we'll work on it. But this was just an introductory, really, for me tonight.
Course.
But can I just say, guys, I watched the early part of the show when I wasn't on, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. And we're really looking forward to having you on moving forward as well. What we're going to do now is play a track from Shez Kane. She is the front woman one of the front women, I will say, from South Wales rock band Caned, along with her two sisters. We're going to play one of her solo tracks now, which I believe is called Torn. She's got a brand new album, which I think was released last week. And this woman's vocals is phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to go and see Shez or the full band Caned, I think they're a 6 or 7 or even 8-piece band. You've got the three sisters on vocals, and they've got the full band behind them. It's absolutely phenomenal. Down with the Enemy had the opportunity to play alongside them in the Lemon Factory in Swansea back when that venue was open. It's closed down.
Down with the Enemy, I've never heard of them.
Nor have I. They're rubbish.
Down with the Economy.
I knew it was coming, Mike. I knew it was so predictable. I knew it was coming. Listen. Let's play the track, Shez Kane with Torn, and we're coming right back then for Stick to Your Day Job, ?
A stranger to myself, locked up in my own head, hearing what you say, but nothing takes the pain away. I'm drowning in my tears. Who am I meant to be? It all gets too much. I hide behind my own disguise with no emotion. Never enough in lying eyes. Torn into pieces. Down in my hands, torn, so torn, I've been to pieces. The feelings I endure have sunk down to my core. I hide behind a smile, pretending everything's alright. Inside I'm wounded. Tears they fall like pouring
The amazing Shez Kane there with her track Torn. As I said, she is one of the front women of Swansea-based rock band Caned. Now it's time for the long-awaited feature of the night. Mark, I'm going to hand over to you now. But quick disclosure first. So this feature is called "Stick to the Day Job?" ? It's not called "Stick to the Day Job?" ? But there's a question mark at the end of it. We are not giving a statement. It's a question. Every episode now, every show, we are going to be talking about a very well-known celebrity who has also ventured into the realm of music. We are then going to be listening to that music and deciding whether they should have stuck to the day job, which might be acting, it might be sport, modeling, reality TV, whatever. But it's a question. And we definitely encourage everybody to make as much music as they want. We are absolutely not going to dictate that. Anyway, moving on with the show. On today's Stick to the Day Job ? It's a very, very famous man, one of my favorite actors. It's Sir Christopher Lee. Mark, tell me a little bit about Sir Christopher.
I mean, what do you need to know? Anyone that's listening to this right now is going to know who Christopher Lee is.
Straight up.
I mean, he's been credited in over 265 different movies and TV shows. It's insane. Some of which most notable are Dracula 1958, The Wicker Man 1973, not the Nicolas Cage one, The Hound of the Baskervilles, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, of course, Saruman, and of course Count Dooku in Star Wars Episode 2 and 3. But here's the thing. What you might not know is that he also had a very distinguished military career, of which one of his jobs, and quote here, was hunting Nazis and interrogating them by all means necessary, apparently. Wow. In fact, during the filming of the second Lord of the Rings, he had to correct Peter Jackson when describing how to act when someone is stabbed. By saying, do you know what it? Have you ever heard someone being stabbed before? To which that sounds like a very awkward conversation, but and then proceeded to describe exactly what it was like to be stabbed, which begs many questions to do with Christopher Lee and his early military career. The guy has got a very long history. I would love to go more into it, but of course we're running on time here.
Now, yeah, that alone is the most metal thing I've ever heard.
It's pretty metal. I mean, the guy is a multilinguist, learning up to 12 different languages. For one thing, 12 different languages. I mean, he was fluent in Italian, Spanish, French, German. Knew a bit of Mandarin. Because why not? But most interesting, and this is where we come to, turns out the guy was a bit of a metalhead. And when I say a bit of a metalhead, was the most massive metalhead. I mean, he got into metal in the 1970s after hearing Black Sabbath, right? And I mean, it wasn't until later on he did actually perform on like the Wicker Man. He actually recorded his own voice on the recording the Wicker Man.
There we are.
You got it, mate.
His first metal contribution wasn't until 2005 when he provided vocals for Rhapsodies of Fire's "The Magic of the Wizard's Dream." Then further past that, his contribution to the Tour de Door March metal remix.
Oh, this is incredible.
As part of his own operatic pop album in 2006.
Wow.
It was a metal reimagining of the song from the opera Carmen. Then, in 2005, he contributed to Manowar's re-recorded Metal Hymns album, reciting a spoken word passage originally spoken by Orson Welles. But then, he recorded his first own album in 2010.
By which point he was in his 70s?
At this point, he was 90 years old.
Oh my goodness!
What?
Right. So this is crazy. By his most recent album, he was 93 years old. He's technically the oldest metalhead to produce an album, as far as I know of. Right. It was called Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross. The lead single was called Let Legend Mark Me as King, was released on his 90th birthday. So 90th birthday, detailing the history of the first Holy Roman Emperor. 3 years later, he recorded another album called Charlemagne, The Omens of Death, arranged by current Judas Priest guitarist. It's insane. This guy's amazing.
Unfortunately, because I know that we could talk about this all night, I'm going to have to stop you there because we are running out of time. Now, normally what we will do on...
One more caveat.
Go on.
One more caveat.
Go on.
He recorded 2 metal Christmas albums.
Well, I know what we're doing on the Christmas episode this year.
Me too. It's amazing.
What we're going to do normally on the show, guys, in future episodes, we'll maybe be a little bit more prepared. Today was very much a pilot, working things out. We will talk after the track as well, and that's when we'll decide should he have stuck to, or should they have stuck to the day job. Unfortunately, we've run way out of time now. We may even have to cut this track short. I apologize for that. However, we're going to put our votes in now because I know we've all listened to the track, and we will invite people to put their votes in on Facebook on the live stream, and we will revisit this now on the next episode. It'll be one of the first things we do, I promise. My vote, I know what that is. Mike, should Christopher Lee have stuck to the day job?
No.
Yes. Mark, what do you think?
Of course not. Absolutely not. The guy's a legend. Amazing.
Absolutely.
The Spirit of Metal.
Definitely.
You received the Spirit of Metal reward. You know?
My vote is exactly the same. Although his day job was incredible, he was in some of my absolute childhood favorites, Count Dooku and Saruman. I mean, the man was already a legend before I heard any of this. Absolutely not, though, should he have stuck to the day job. The music is incredible. We will talk about it on next month's show. We are going to be live on Pure West Radio the third Monday of every month. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in today.
Rest in peace, Christopher Lee, just saying it.
You beat me to it. You beat me to it. Unfortunately, obviously, he's passed away a few years ago now. One thing you didn't mention, Willy Wonka's dad.
Willy Wonka's dad, that was
Willy Wonka's dad, yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Go on.
He received the Spirit of Metal award at the Metal Hammer Golden Gods show in 2010.
Incredible!
We're
gonna have to talk about him on next month's show.
We will.
Really looking forward to it. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in to Making Noise tonight. It's been an experience. A massive thank you to all of our guests tonight, including Ignitemares, including Ian Davis. Massive thank you to our producer Tom, who's been working tirelessly behind the scenes. I know I've overrun. I'm very sorry. Thank you, everybody. Mark, lastly, would you like to introduce the track?
What track are we on? Oh, my God. This is where I fall out. Oh, it's Lotharo. Wings of Agony.
No.
Wait,
Christopher Lee.
Christopher, is that where we're...
That we've just talked about it for 10 minutes.
I'm logged out, mate. Which one are we doing?
Sorry, we are about to play the track by Christopher Lee, as we've just discussed on this feature. Please let us know if you think Christopher Lee should have stuck to the day job or not. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in tonight. We will be back on, I think, the 19th of April, but I'm very sorry if I'm wrong with that. Thank you to everybody, and good night.
Good night.
Later on.
Ever shown to pope nor prince, nor man nor beast, and steal our cattle for to feast. No earthly prince in mind shall take, or scandalous idolatry so fake. In borderland raids, they came in their hordes, ransacking villages, taking the spoils, with nothing to lose, and possessions few. Bold,
sturdy, fearless and cruel.
Defiant of baptism on pain of death, tough measures call for me to be ruthless, to set an example to the rebels, draconian for their worship of devils.
How many times did I venture forth to the extreme wilderness of the north to subdue those whose hatred was great against churches and priests of our Christian state.
River flowing red with the blood of 4,000 men that I did behead.
I shed blood of Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed it at Verden.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men. I shed the blood of 4,000 Saxon men. I shed blood of Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men. As I toil to force others out of Frankish soil, and I return to learn that all is lost, yet my companions I trust, the sword and the cross. Those good industrious Frankish folk who toil our lands with oxen and yoke, whilst Lombard, Bulgar, and Moorish men dare to even glance at them.
Converting entire tribes by the sword, in the name of Jesus Christo our Lord. On that day in Verden, no mercy given, victory for the chosen people.
Weary grow I of this task which fell on the shoulders of a man who yearns to spend but 1 hour with wife and child, to gaze on faces innocent and marked. The real banner won't and never has been seen.
An empire made great by deeds of great kings. I shed blood of Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed it at Verden.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men. I shed the blood of 4,000 Saxon men. I shed blood of Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
Live from our studios in Haverfordwest.